Dawn arrived with the low groan of trucks and the wet slap of garbage bags against metal. The street smelled of yesterday orange peels, damp paper, a sour note of milk gone wrong carried on a breeze that tugged at loose flyers taped to lamp posts. At the corner, a woman in a frayed green vest bent to lift a bin, her gloved hands steady despite the weight. A gray scarf hid most of her face. Wisps of hair escaped at the temples, silvered by the light. She moved carefully, as if every step mattered. From a balcony above, Anaya watched with a mug warming her palms. The city was waking up, but her apartment still felt like a held breath. Her husband had left early, quiet as he always was lately. The kettle's hiss lingered in her ears. Below, the woman dragged a bag that tore, spilling coffee grounds and wilted flowers across the curb. The sound a soft, humiliating rip cut through the morning. Anaya set the mug down. She descended the stairs two at a time, the smell of detergent and old paint following her. Outside, the air was cool enough to prickle. She knelt without thinking, gathering the mess with bare hands, the grit sticking to her skin. The woman murmured an apology in a voice roughened by age or weather. Anaya shook her head, smiling. She fetched a spare bag from the building's utility closet and tied it tight, fingers practiced from a life of making do. "Your gloves," Anaya said gently, noticing a split seam. "They won't keep out the cold." The woman looked up. Her eyes were dark, searching, as if measuring the truth of kindness. "They'll last," she said. "Most things do, if you don't ask too much." They worked together in silence. A bus hissed past. Somewhere, a radio played a thin song about summer. When they finished, Anaya pressed a folded note into the woman's palm, money meant for groceries she would now stretch, and walked back upstairs before embarrassment could bloom. Days passed. The woman returned each morning, always slower than the others, always alone at that corner. Sometimes Anaya brought tea in a chipped thermos. Sometimes she left bread wrapped in cloth. The woman never asked. She accepted with a nod, a word placed carefully, as if speech itself were a precious thing. Anaya's life, unseen from the street, carried its own quiet weight. She rose before dawn, balanced accounts for a small tailoring shop, stitched hems late into the night. Her marriage had been built on love and patience, not money. The family she married into owned buildings she had only ever admired from the sidewalk. Her father-in-law was a presence felt more than seen, his name on plagues, his decisions in headlines. He had never visited. There were rumors of tests, of judgments delivered like weather. One morning, rain slicked the pavement. Anaya found the woman struggling with a bin that refused to open. The lid jammed, water ran down her sleeves. Without hesitation, Anaya stepped into the rain, braced the bin, and levered the lid free, her shoes soaked through. The woman laughed, then a small, surprised sound, and the laughter seemed to loosen something in her chest. "Why?" the woman asked, rain threading lines across her scarf. "You owe me nothing." Anaya wiped her hands on her jeans. "I know." The woman studied her a long moment, as if committing the answer to memory. The following week, the corner was empty. No truck. No green vest. The air felt wrong without the rhythm of work. Anaya waited, then went back upstairs, unsettled. That evening, a car arrived, quiet, expensive. An envelope lay on the table when Anaya returned home, heavy paper, her name printed cleanly. Inside was an invitation to dinner at a house she had only seen in photographs. Her husband's hands shook as he read it. "My father," he said, disbelief softening his voice. The house smelled of polished wood and lemons. The floors held reflections like still water. At the head of the table sat a woman Anaya did not recognize at first, washed, upright, scarf gone, hair neatly pinned. Her posture was straighter. Her eyes, unmistakable. The room seemed to inhale. The woman stood. She removed the green vest folded over her arm, placed it carefully on a chair, and bowed her head not in apology, but in acknowledgement. "I needed to know," she said, her voice now clear, resonant. "Not what you would say when you were watched. What you would do when no one was." She was not a woman at all, but a man who had lived long enough to be many things, wearing the shape of humility like a second skin. The millionaire. The father-in-law. Anaya felt heat rise to her face, not pride, not anger, but a tender ache. She remembered the rain, the torn bag, the note folded small. "I didn't pass a test," she said quietly. "I met a person." The man smiled then, a real smile, lines softening. "Exactly." Dinner passed without spectacle. Later, as Anaya and her husband left, the city welcomed them back with its familiar noise and warmth. The lesson did not arrive like a verdict. It settled instead, like dust after rain, that worth is revealed in the small, unguarded moments, and that kindness, offered without audience, changes the shape of a life, sometimes two at once. If this story touched your heart and moved you in any way, please like the video, comment, share it with someone who need a little hope today, and make sure you subscribe to Humanity Diaries. Your support help us continue emotional and meaningful stories to the world. Please comment below which part of story touched you the most.